Maryland football couldn't get back on track against Northwestern, and a fourth straight bowl game might be in jeopardy. Men's soccer is on a roll, and women's soccer finished a roller coaster of a week with their first conference win in nearly 2 years. All that and more coming up on this edition of The Left Bench.
We got to find out what we can do to get on the right side of those plays.
I love these girls so much, so I was doing it for them.
Welcome back to The Left Bench, presented by Terrapin Sports Central. I'm Jonas Evans, that's Nathan Schwartz. Nate, Maryland football, it's just continuing to struggle in conference play.
They really have, and this last hiccup is really starting to raise even more concerns with this team.
Definitely a lot more questions than answers. The Terps faced Northwestern on Friday with almost 2 weeks of rest, but that didn't translate to a hot start. The first score coming 7 minutes into this game with a 9-yard touchdown run from Wildcat QB Jack Lausch. Northwestern continuing to apply the pressure. A Luke Akers 43-yarder gives the Wildcats a 17-0 lead. No red zone trip for the Terps all first half until a 16-play drive late in the second quarter ends in a turtle push and Maryland's first touchdown. But the second half was where things went wrong. After a scoreless third quarter, the Terps couldn't stop turning the ball over. First, a Billy Edwards strip sack that goes all the way for a Northwestern touchdown. Then Preston Howard fumbles for the second time on the night. And by the time Edwards threw this interception to Damon Walters, the Wildcats are up by 20. In the end, Northwestern wins it 37-10. Head coach Michael Loxley is now 0-11 after the bye as a head coach.
We've got to continue to find ways to help them. We tried to do that by spreading people out and running the ball today, which we were able to do effectively. But when you turn it over and you don't come away with points and then you start chasing points, and I think that's kind of what happened there late in the third and fourth quarter. You start chasing, and right now that's not who we are.
Like Jonas said, Maryland football struggled in all three phases of its game on Friday. Now 3 games into conference play, the Terps are still without a win, and one trend is clearly hurting them.
Alexa Wooten has more.
There's also a lot of places that there's still some work to be done, and again, up front, on the back end, up front on offense, on the back end on defense, and then special teams.
All 3 phases of Maryland's game did not look connected in its 37-10 loss to Northwestern. Billy Edwards Jr. threw 55%, and the offense had 4 turnovers.
All of a sudden, the turnovers show up, which we haven't turned the ball over.
Including one off of a Northwestern kickoff, when Ricardo Cooper Jr. fumbled the ball and the Wildcats came up with it and a field goal. Another came when the Terps had the chance to tie it, but Edwards Jr. was sacked and stripped of the ball. This would lead to another Wildcats touchdown.
Get down in the red area. We don't come away with points. It's demoralizing. When I talk about complimentary football, it demoralizes you on defense some.
And on defense, once again, Maryland struggled to stop a team from plowing downfield, on the ground and through the air.
3 Big Ten games, 0 Big Ten wins. In all 3 games, the killer for the Terps was their secondary, allowing over 200 passing yards to Michigan State, Indiana, and now Northwestern.
Wildcats QB Jack Lausch threw 203 passing yards against the Terps, along with rushing for 80, equaling 4 touchdowns and 3 field goals.
You don't win games when you lose the big play battle and the turnover battle, and today we lost both.
We all know that that's what Big Ten battles are going to be, regardless of who you're playing in the Big Ten. Every week it's going to be a dogfight like that, and we got to find out what we can do to get on the right side of those plays, and I think it'll be a lot different of a ball game.
Maryland is entering the heat of Big Ten play. With USC coming to town next weekend and then a quick turnaround to head to Minnesota, it will need to find solutions to the overarching struggles in its secondary and now present issues on offense. For Terrapin Sports Central, I'm Alexa Wooten.
Now, to help us analyze what has gone wrong for Maryland, not only against the Wildcats, but all season, we're glad to have TSC editor-in-chief and football beat reporter Josh Panepento join us. Josh, thanks so much for taking the time, man.
Thank you guys for having me.
Well, let's start with that game on Friday. That was a game that they had 2 weeks to prepare for. How do you explain that offensive display that was just so weak right from the get-go?
Yeah, I mean, you really said it right there, but the big difference was that Mike Locksley was calling the plays. Everyone noticed it right away. He was holding the play sheet, and it takes time. Even though they had that bye week, it's their first time running plays under Mike Locksley, calling them with Josh Gaddis helping from up top. But it was just tough for them to really establish the run. They had like 24 first-half rush yards on 16 attempts. That's not going to win you games. So if they can just kind of clean up some stuff with the line, it can kind of all click.
Was there something in particular that you noticed about Locksley's play calling that maybe differs from Gaddis's, and why you think that change was made right now?
Yeah, so we saw Billy Edwards throw a lot more passes, which is not a bad thing. He's a great quarterback, but when you're relying on that so much and the run game is just non-existent, it's kind of hard to build these long drives, especially since a lot of their special teams, like mess-ups, put the offense at like the 10-yard line.
Ricardo Cooper Jr., that fumble on the kickoff return, what you're alluding to there, and you make another good point with the running game really disappearing. It feels like Hemby and Ray have fallen off a cliff, but going back to Northwestern, this is a game that for 3.5 quarters was close, but really started to go the Wildcats' way at the end. But what do you think they did well in particular to really catch Maryland off guard?
Yeah, I mean, they did a great job defensively, I think, just kind of shutting down all the different Maryland playmakers and really putting pressure on Billy Edwards because, you know, we saw it on that one fumble at the start of the fourth quarter. Like, there were guys just unblocked at some points that had a free run at Billy, and can't do much there.
So there's been so much talk about Locksley after the bye, and I guess with all those bowl games that he's had in recent years, it feels crazy to say this, but do you think that the conference performance this season warrants maybe a hotter seat than people might have been expecting going into this
I'm
year?
glad you asked that because everyone on Twitter immediately after the game is calling for
was
Locksley's
intense.
job. It was intense, but I mean, you said it with the bowl games, like 3 straight years of not only going to bowl games but winning them. Like, that's going to secure him his job for a little bit. I don't think his seat is as hot as the Twitter analysts are saying it is, but we'll have to see how the rest of the season goes.
Maybe that's a hot take that the internet is actually not in line with the thinking from Maryland athletics. What a surprise.
It's really interesting, but how does this team move forward? Because you're 3-3 right now. This is an easier schedule than a lot of people thought the Terps would get. No Ohio State, no Michigan. You save Penn State for the end, but now you have a gauntlet with Rutgers and Iowa starting to play better football as of late, and you still have to go to Oregon. You still have to play Penn State as well. How does this team respond?
Yeah, I mean, I think just getting more comfortable with Locksley as a play caller because he seemed very confident in the post-game press conference that he's going to continue to call plays. So the more they just get comfortable with that, I think they'll do pretty well, but it is a gauntlet. All 6 of the teams they face the rest of the year are 500 or better. So there's not going to be anything easy at all. They need to clean up those like self-wounds where, you know, the special teams doesn't really do their job or the offensive line doesn't do their job. If they clean that up, get more comfortable under Locksley, they'll be good.
And we'll wrap things up with this, Josh. We talk about this gauntlet 3-3 with all these tough games to go, and we didn't even mention the Minnesota game. That one's going to be interesting. The Golden Gophers beat USC a couple of weeks ago. Can this team get it done? Can they get to that 6-6 record to get to a bowl game and make it 4 in a row? Or is this going to be a down year that a lot of Maryland fans were not expecting?
The big question.
Will they make the bowl game? They need 3 more wins, but you said it, Minnesota, Rutgers, Oregon, USC, Penn State. Like, pick 3 teams out of that to beat. It's
tough.
It's tough.
It really is tough.
Yeah. Well, that's all we have for you today. Thanks so much for joining us.
Hey, thank you guys for having me.
And you can find all of Josh's coverage on Terrapin Sports Central website, and you can follow him on X at Josh Panepento.
Now stay right here because when we come back, we'll look through the first 10 years in the Big Ten for Maryland athletics.
And we'll see how women's soccer fared in its home finale. Don't go anywhere.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. I love you. Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home. I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna. It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Welcome back to the Left Bench, presented by Terrapin Sports Central. Nathan Schwartz with Jonas Evans. And Jonas, college athletics has gone through a lot of change recently.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got teams like USC and Washington now in the conference, but remember, that was Maryland not too long ago.
It just was a decade ago that Maryland left the ACC to join the Big Ten.
Ben Volker is in Studio B to dive into some history and break down the past decade of Maryland athletics. Ben?
Yeah, guys, it was a controversial move at the time, but let's see how things have shaken out. Let's start with football, where the Big Ten hasn't been the kindest to the Terps. What has defined this era of Terps football is their inability to defeat ranked conference opponents. Since joining the Big Ten, the Terps have played in 34 of these games and have won 0 of them. However, last year, the team won its 3rd straight bowl game, which is a first for the Terps, and a huge leap for the team in the conference. But a rocky start to this year has left the future in Big Ten play in question. Could the Terps grab a ranked Big Ten win anytime soon? If you want to see what Big Ten success looks like, look no further than Maryland's lacrosse teams. On the women's side, the Terps have been a powerhouse. They have won 3 national championships and 4 Big Ten championships this past decade, including an undefeated 2017 season. Similarly, the men's team has won 2 national championships and 4 conference championships of their own, including their undefeated 2022 run. Dominance is the name of the game in Maryland lacrosse, and when it comes to their success in the Big Ten Conference, they're at the top of the food chain. Onto the court, the women's basketball team has been a consistent contender since entering the conference. They entered the Big Ten hot, winning 3 straight conference titles in their first 3 years, and they've added 2 more since. They have also made the NCAA tournament each year since joining, including a 2015 Final Four appearance. As for the men's team, it's been more of a mixed bag. The Terps have ranked as high as 3rd in AP polls, but they have not won a conference tournament. In 2020, though, the Terps claimed the Big Ten regular season championship, but COVID ran that season short. Although they have made the NCAA tournament 6 times, they have failed to put together a deep run in the Big Ten. Now, the conference has gotten even tougher with the arrival of the 4 West Coast teams. And in football, the Terps will get their first taste of new blood when USC comes to town this weekend, guys.
Well, Nate, I guess it's interesting with all these different programs. Ben mentions how some of them are obviously still taking a lot of time to adjust, like football, then other ones like field hockey, completely dominant. But then you kind of go in the middle and it's basketball. I'm curious for you, with this new addition of all these teams, is women's basketball in a better position, or is men's basketball in a better position for the future?
That's tough. The women's program has had a lot better of the track record being at the top of the rankings, but Maryland, this men's team just has a buzz around them with Derek Queen and bringing in Gillespie and Rice. It'll be really interesting to see which team has the better year.
Yeah, it's really interesting how those stocks are kind of changing a little bit. Well, number 9 Maryland men's soccer currently sits top of the Big Ten, and on Friday the Terps got a huge win on the road at Washington. Sasha Swarovski's squad has been on fire lately, but the Terps had to come from behind multiple times in this one. First, it's Max Rogers with a finish outside the box to tie it at 1 after an early Washington goal. The Terps go down again, but after Colin Griffith draws a penalty, Leon Kuhl slots it home, and this one is tied once again. But in the 73rd minute, this time it's the Terps taking the lead. Colin Griffith, the team's leader in goals with his 6th of the season, to win it late 3-2. That's 10 straight games without a loss for Maryland, their first double-digit unbeaten streak in 6 years.
On Thursday, shocking news came out of the women's soccer program as Maryland Athletics announced it parted ways with head coach Megan Ryan Nemser. Nemser took over the program in 2022 and after 2.5 seasons finished with a 10, 25, and 14 record. Maryland Athletic Director Damon Evans named first-year assistant Michael Marciano as the interim head coach, who won 2 national championships with the men's program in the 2000s. Now, while Marciano and the Terps couldn't grab a win on Thursday against Penn State, on Sunday, they ended their home slate on a high note against Nebraska. The first 40 minutes of play were physical, but both attacks went quiet until Delaney DiMartino scores off a header to bring Maryland's goalless streak in Big Ten play to an end. Second half now, and the Terps continue to hold Nebraska off the board. The Cornhuskers make lives harder for themselves as Abby Schwartz is sent off after her second yellow card, forcing the Huskers to play with only 10 players. Then in the 76th minute, Kelsey Smith sneaks across into the box, and Katie Coyle puts it into the back of the net, securing the 2-0 win, Maryland's first win in Big Ten play in nearly 2 years.
And we played a number of players today, and I think that all comes back to trying to create and maintain energy, and that's maybe something that we'll continue to look at moving forward.
Maryland volleyball wrapped up a 2-game road trip in Minneapolis on Saturday, falling to the number 14 Gophers in 3 sets. Tight game in the first set as Samantha Schnitta picks up an ace to bring the Terps within 1, but Minnesota's clutch blocking earns them 3 straight points and the first set win 25-21. The Gophers keep that momentum through the second, and Maryland can't hang, losing the second set 25-15, but the Terps do show some fight in the third. Eva Rohrbach taking advantage of a bad return to put Maryland up 2, and the Terps managed to keep a lead all the way to 18-17. But that's when all those Gophers blocks came back. Minnesota with a late surge to take the third set 25-18 as the Terps are swept for the second straight game.
Maryland field hockey also took a trip up north, but stopped in East Lansing for a clash with Michigan State. Let's go straight to the third quarter with Maryland down 1-0. Emma DeBurdine inserts on the penalty corner, and Ella Gayton finishes the job, tying things up at 1. Not even 90 seconds later, DeBurdine picks up an assist as Kylie Neiswanger gives Maryland the lead. And as the fourth quarter starts, Fleur Knopert says, "Who doesn't love insurance?" Knopert spikes the ball into the cage, which puts the finishing touches on the Terps' 3-1 win and head coach Missy Maharg's 650th in her coaching career. Now stay right here because after the break, we're going to be in Studio B playing a little game of Guess Who.
And of course, we'll have your top 5 plays, Terp of the Week, and Pro Terp. So stay right here.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. I love you. Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason. Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Welcome back to the Left Bench presented by Terrapin Sports Central. I'm Jonas Evans here with Nathan Schwartz. Nate, why are we in Studio B right now?
Well, we've got this big screen right here that we utilize for a lot of purposes, but we're going to play a game of Guess Who. And just a refresher on how this works, our fellow producers picked out some Maryland athletes or coaches or who knows who else they picked out. Could literally be anybody.
It can be anything, sure.
And they zoomed in on the picture, and we have to try and guess who the person is. Now, Jonas, last time we did this, I had a pretty good display. You had a pretty good display as well.
I honestly don't remember.
It was a while ago,
Okay.
but let's work as a team here and try and get these. And we've been told they are really hard.
What you said before about could be anything, we really need to get into the psyche of our producers for this, so we'll see how we do.
And they just decided these like 10 minutes ago, so it could literally be anybody. All right, let's see the first one.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
Number one.
Number one.
That looks like, is that a goal?
Yeah, you see here. I'll move over here. So you can see the netting right here. Number one, yellow jersey. I'm
That's
thinking,
not the basketball.
I think this might be field hockey. I think this might be with a net right here. Field hockey. I think I'm going to go with Alyssa Klobasco.
That's a good guess.
I think I'm going to lock in Alyssa Klobasco. Let's see it.
There you go.
Come on.
That was a confusing background.
I stay ready. That's a road one. That is not. That's not at the Plex. That might be why it's a little interesting. All right.
Smart.
Let's see number two. 1 for 1 here. This is nothing.
Oh my God.
This is actually nothing.
Can we figure out what jersey? Like what sport?
So it says it's obviously
this is soccer.
The Maryland letter. I think it's soccer.
Soccer.
I
mean, can we? I mean,
we have nothing here. We have actually nothing here.
Can I hear the producers? Okay, let me.
So
think.
okay, let's talk about this for a second. I don't think it's a player.
You don't. Oh,
that's
smart.
They wouldn't be wearing the jersey.
Yes.
Maryland across the chest. I don't know.
Okay, well, is it? It could be Marciano.
It could be Marciano. It could. I don't think Loxley always has the cool alternate logo stuff. He's not wearing anything.
Or it could just be Sasho.
It could be Sasho. It could be Missy.
Oh, No, I like Missy. 650.
650.
Missy,
All right,
Missy
Maharg. Let's do it. No.
Oh.
It's Michael Marciano. We just talked about him as taking over the women's soccer program after spending some time with the men's program as a player. I mean, what a win for this program over the weekend against Nebraska. All right, 1 for 2, not bad.
We should have known. That was pretty on.
We should have.
Yeah,
we should have.
On topic.
All right, time for number 3, and again, nothing really here.
6.
So got a 6 over here.
Is that field hockey?
I feel like it could be field hockey, but is it? I'm going all over the place here. I'm spinning.
I have no idea what that is.
What is that? Okay, we've been told it's not field hockey.
What other jersey would have that?
Oh, you know what? I think I know this. All right. So there's only a couple of teams that would wear a jersey like this.
It's not tennis, is it?
No, there's only a couple of teams that would wear a jersey like this. And I think basketball is one of those teams.
You think that's a basketball jersey?
Do
they wear the number on the top?
I mean, I think it's got to be basketball. And if I remember the picture I saw the other day correctly, I mean, I don't know a whole lot about what numbers each player is wearing, but I think it's a newcomer, and she's a Maryland native. I'm locking in Sailor Poffenbarger as who this is. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm not getting that.
Practice jersey for a newcomer.
That was a good pull. I'm too
good at this.
How was I supposed to know practice jersey though?
I mean, I guess I'm carrying.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to say other than I'm
It's a good thing we're working
him.
together on this.
All right, number 4. Let's finish out on a high note. Okay, the word fort.
Well, effort. Could it be effort?
Fortnite, maybe? I don't know.
This is nothing again. They're showing us nothing again.
Oh, Oh, I know exactly.
Oh, wait, I can see it better from here.
This is Jonas.
Wait.
Jonas,
Wait. That's a wheel. That's the wheel.
It's a wheel.
That's
Wheel of Fortune. But where do we go after Wheel of Fortune? It's a wheel.
Are you sure that's, what's the wheel for?
Well, so remember.
Did we do a segment on here?
Remember last year, Ricky Pogorski and Kira Bruno did.
I was going to say Kira did something like that.
They did something in here with the wheel. I don't remember the wheel. Oh. Oh my gosh. Okay. I don't know if you remember. You might have been in the control room.
Probably.
But they had somebody come out and hold the wheel.
I don't remember that, no.
They had somebody come out and hold the wheel to spin, and you want to know who that person
Wait, was it Brandon?
It was Brandon
Okay.
Schwartzberg who held the wheel. Wheel of Fortune, Kira, Brandon, Ricky holding the wheel. Oh my gosh. Wow.
I kind of knew that. And remember, I did say Marciano too, so you did carry, but.
You got Marciano.
Yeah.
We didn't lock that in.
No, we didn't trust that. There wasn't enough confidence
Wow,
there.
I'm feeling really
that
good
was
about
really
that.
impressive.
That was
really
really hard, guys. You did a great job, but we're just too good for this.
Yeah.
We're too good.
Well, our Terp of the Week earned a career milestone as a head coach this weekend. It's Maryland legend Missy Meharg. Just talked about her. Number 6 Maryland field hockey beating Michigan State on the road on Friday, giving Meharg her 650th career win. That's a monumental achievement that's only been done 2 other times in NCAA history. Meharg currently ranks 2nd in wins among active coaches. The all-time record is 745 wins. That was done by UNC's Karen Shelton, who was retired in 2022.
And we'll head to the Battle of the Beltways for our Pro Terp, where this former Maryland football star got back to making big plays. It's Baltimore Ravens defensive end Yannick Ngakoue. A fourth-quarter sack for Ngakoue served as his welcome back to Baltimore moment. The 9-year NFL vet played for the Ravens in 2020, and after re-signing with Baltimore a few weeks ago, he showed up in a big moment, taking down Jaden Daniels to help the Ravens seal a 30-23 win over Washington. Congrats to Yannick for being this week's Pro Terp.
Very special meaning for that game for this anchor duo, Ravens fan, Commanders fan, and Nate, you actually happened to be at that game. How was that?
I had a great time. Jaden, Terry, and the guys, they couldn't get it done, but I'm still excited what this team is doing right now. 4-2, feeling really good about our chances to win the East.
I don't, but everyone has a difference of opinion, I guess.
All right, so okay, whatever.
Sorry to fluster you, Nate. Let's get into the top
crazy,
5.
But enough about football. Let's get into our top 5 plays.
Yes, let's get into that. Let's start at number 5. Flora Knoper with a dagger to seal it against Michigan State. She pops it out of the air into the corner of the goal. What a finish, and that's a dagger.
Out to Ludwig for number 4. Kelsey Smith to Katie Coyle for Maryland's 2nd goal of the day. The way the Terps are able to end their first conference win in 2 years.
Sticking with soccer, but we're now with men's soccer. Colin Griffith with the winner, 3-2 winner here, and it's a header, again, beating the goalie. Just a quick finish, and Max Rogers, he's an assist machine right now.
Whole lot of soccer on this list today. Number 2, it's Max Rogers scoring from distance. Take a look here. With the left foot, the dominant foot to the far post for Maryland to goal.
No doubt what play number 1 is. Delaney DiMartino breaking the drought. That is the first conference goal for Maryland Terrapins women's soccer in almost 2 years. What an incredible moment that was. Marciano with his first conference win. Great start for him. And of course, a streak like that being broken, how big of that is that for that program?
It's huge for the confidence. That may be the last home match they have this season, but still 3 more to try and finish on a high note.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of The Left Bench, but be on the lookout for a special Tuesday episode of The Left Bench in Focus in just a few hours.
But in the meantime, check out all of our coverage on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and X.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.